Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice macro Sunday morning. We're getting ready to talk about some very high term time frame ideas, talking about the next few months, maybe even the next half year, essentially. And we might go over a little bit of the short term as well. We were looking at yesterday as, likely an area for a pullback. So while we are going to be focusing on the higher term timeframes, make no mistake, this is not to be confused with the low term timeframes. We might at the very end of this video go over that as well. Anyways, other than that, I want to once again remind you to like and subscribe and hit the good old bell there. Yeah, hit the fucking bell, huh? It's like if you need to be told that, you probably shouldn't be subscribing anyways. But all good in the hood. Let's just jump right into it right on over here and start off with this model of the accumulation and distribution indicator on the weekly that we were looking at. I brought this one out. This was like back in November now. And I wanted to swing back over to it now, follow up on it and see kind of where we're at and fit into the overall model that we have been looking at the market, of which there are several, and they're kind of all playing hand in hand with each other, but coming at it from different angles, which is, well, confluence, which is typically a good thing. Anyways, this one, we are looking at the weekly accumulation and distribution indicator as getting that first positive slope, which essentially initiates the setup when it is below the green horizontal line that my cursor is currently on right now. So this is the full history of it. It's happened several times, many times in Bitcoin's history. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the ninth one, by the way, to be exact. And the average gain, the average bounce from that particular setup has been about 49%. If we were to take a first standard deviation measurement of the range of sort of results that we have witnessed in the past, it'd give us a range between about 39.25 all the way up to almost 60%. And the average amount of time that it's taken has been about 70 days. I did take a first standard deviation measurement of the time taken as well, and actually just perusing the results, pretty much all of them were either 50 or like around 50 or around like 90 to 100. So you can see that's actually represented incredibly well in the first standard deviation right here with those two numbers. So in this case, we are actually at the average time of days thus far, 70 days from when this setup particularly fired off, and we identified it in November. Yep, about literally 70 days to the dot right now on the weekly. And thus far from low to high, what sort of a bounce have we seen? Well, we've seen about, I'm trying to get this as accurately as possible, about a 39% bounce, which is good, which is within the context of the lower end of the first standard deviation here at 39.25. So when we're on the average days and also on the bottom end of the first standard deviation, it should be I would say that it'd be wise to be considering that, hey, in the short term, does Bitcoin maybe pull back a little bit, maybe after one more try higher? I do think it's reasonable. But again, here's the thing. Almost all of the results were either like 50 days or 90 days to 100 days. So the average time at 70 days kind of makes me a bit suspect that because Bitcoin's already on for this long on this bounce, it probably does go for the upper end of this, closer to 90 days, which would give us another, 3 weeks. That number sounds familiar now, doesn't it? If you've been on this channel for a while, as that does fit into the prior models, the volatility versus stochastic models, actually, suggesting that this bounce still probably has another couple weeks, maybe as much as a month on top of it. And again, if we go over to the average, that's about 10% higher than what we've currently seen thus far. So 49% from the current lows would put Bitcoin at about 23,300, let's say, give or take a little bit from that number. And the top side of the first standard deviation would be about 59%, which would put Bitcoin at the summer highs, and also the 55 exponential moving average on the weekly here, which is going to play into the analysis later, at about $25,000. Again, give or take a few bucks from this number, which would be a very obvious pullback region. And personally speaking, I actually do think that Bitcoin is kind of likely to get there sometime in maybe Q1, maybe Q2 of this year. But of course, those would be areas of interest along the way, and we're at the first major one right now. So I do expect that Bitcoin's going to probably initiate a little bit of sideways here, this next week. Anyways, moving to the next chart, I don't want to go over like the full explanation of this, just wanted to follow up on it. It's the 5-day volatility versus stochastic momentum signature. The 5-day time frame is going to be closing tonight. And I don't think I need to explain this setup yet again. Just low volatility plus direction of stochastic oscillator has led to these results over the past 5 years, you can see. And in this case, the 5-day time frame is going to be closing tonight, and the 5-day stochastic will continue with its upside momentum as long as Bitcoin's above 16,700. So a nice what, $4,000 buffer right there, almost. Not bad. I mean, crazier things certainly happened, but yeah, I'm gonna say that that's maybe a little bit less likely in this case. What's also very interesting is that you will very likely see the 5-day stochastic start to test the regression rejections that we've been seeing over the past year and a half now, going back to August of 2021. Governing the last, all of the major highs that we've seen throughout that time. So, do be aware of that. If Bitcoin starts to break above essentially the edge of the bearish control zone, we're probably going to see this one run a lot more into the rest of 2023. Again, I'm not making any comments on whether the macro low is in or not. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Apparently, a lot of commenters seem to have some very strong ideas about that. I wish that I had the confidence of a YouTube commenter. Now, don't get me wrong. 99% of comments on this channel I'm massively grateful for, and I think are actually we have a pretty high quality community. But it's really fucking interesting to see the other 1%, the very loud 1%. If you're watching this right now and you just kind of scroll down to the comments, you'll probably see what I'm talking about. It's always the same people too. It's really interesting to watch. I don't even bother. It's I could ban it, I guess. But at the same time, it's kind of fun to watch, honestly. It's the amount of what's it called, mental gymnastics about, okay, but bro, don't you know that this is going to happen in the macro? JPal's going to do this, and that's going to happen over here, and this is going to happen over here. Bitcoin 10,000. That's exactly right. Fuck you. It's fuck you, Krown. All right. I'm just looking at stats, man. I'm just looking at stats. That's all I care about. Opinions are cool. Opinions are great, but if I traded my own, I'd probably be wrecked. So that's why I go with the stats. Anyways, yes, so we've gotten over this, and the reason why I also bring it up is not because it's just closing today, but again, these stats over here, very similar to what we just looked at. Again, almost 50% popping up right here. So I do think that $23,000. Maybe in the later portion of Q1, might make sense. It's kind of the next continuation target if we get there. Again, short term, probably Bitcoin pulls back. Anyways, moving on to the next chart. So this is another one that we've spoken about a lot in the macro videos. It's just a monthly stochastic oscillator chart. That's all that it is. Yes, there's a DMI here in the background. I think it's kind of muddling up the data, so perhaps I'll get rid of it for now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, a little bit cleaner. But what I've done here is I've just marked off all of the turns to the upside in the critical zone, of which there's been 1, 2, 3 prior ones, working on our fourth one right here. And the 3 prior ones have actually all marked off prior macro lows. So that would be, something that I do think would be, this is the first tangible signal that I do think is in the cards here. Now, we can actually forecast what price would need to be in order to have the current one cross the upside. It would be 17,945 on the index. And you can also see that it is playing off this trend line regression over here as well. And it would also be hidden bullish divergence of 1, 2, 3, 4 drives variety, because we are making lower lows on the stochastic oscillator alongside higher lows on the macro price action right here. I've also gone ahead and measured out all of the times when it's actually crossed the upside, and from the critical zone, I should say. And you can see right here. Sorry, I also included the 2 other ones right here and right here that were not in the critical zone. But we won't talk about that because it's not relevant to the conversation. And they're also egregiously more, 500 and almost 700% right there. But the other 3 ones, 284%, 238%, and 238% again. Some of them taking half a year, this one over here about a year, this one over here about 3 months, to that next high. But I thought that was interesting. So if we're looking at this current one, assuming that Bitcoin closed above that pivot, about $18,000, let's say, let's just play around with numbers. So I'd say that this is the hopium part of this, of this particular analysis. And, let's just play around with it. So what's 250 off of the current lows? I'm not fucking saying Bitcoin's going to go back to $57,000 in the next year, but it wouldn't be super unheard of, at least from the past 3 iterations. Now 3 times does make a trend, but when I'm back testing shit, when I'm back testing my own shit, I go into the toilet and I see what sort of little seeds and shit shows up there. It's really bad, honestly, because I have all these food allergies. Anyways, got sidetracked there for a second. Anyways, where was I? Yes, when I'm back testing shit, I'm looking for 50 iterations minimum typically when like I'm actually making, like strategies and whatnot. So this leaves a little bit to be desired, let's say. But I would guess that would be the hopium portion of this, and yeah, again, it's another 16 days left until the monthly closes, but so far so good, let's say. We can take it one step further and go over here to the monthly on just my regular charts, and what do you know? The monthly is showing hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point. Similar to how Bitcoin put in the lows in 2018, 2019 as well. And you actually would have seen the lows over here too between 2011 and 2015, but obviously not enough data to populate that in. But I'll just draw a line because it's time to draw some lines, baby. There you go. You've also noticed that I do have these green vertical bars. What do they align with? You might be asking. Well, these align with the changes in color on the monthly Joule oscillator. So it's happened once and twice in the past. Again, these did mark off essentially macro lows before major rallies. One of them was, both of them actually were retested, I would say reasonably close, like very close. This one over here, obviously, the low is over here. This one retested over here, but after that, onwards and upwards. Again, this one over here in 2019, retested in the March 2020 dump Bola party. And then onwards and upwards from there. And then also marked off by hidden bullish divergence as we just went over. And what do you know? The monthly Joule oscillator is not just creating its own divergence, which I have marked off right here, but it's also turning white. So again, needs until the end of the month to fully confirm that, but that would be another, etching within the overall slab of Bula-ishness that would suggest that, hey, next major move is to the upside, and it probably continues. I'm starting to think that 30,000 not unheard of. Now I'm gonna start to be called Krown. Don't you think you're too bullish? It's like I read that comment so many fucking times in the past month, just talking about statistics. And it's like, I don't know. Was it too bullish to be looking for $21,000 when Bitcoin was at 16.5? You tell me. Anyways. Probably shouldn't even address this. Quarterly also is working on hidden bullish evidence here. Now this one's way far away from getting confirmed, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, obviously. But it'd be 3 drives variety, as you can see. And if Bitcoin gets to the end of March and it's still looking like this, then at that point, I do think that $30,000 would be on the cards. Within Q2 of this year. So that'd be also interesting as well. All right, what else do we have? I completely forgot to bring up my notes. Where's my damn phone? It's over here. So let me just grab it really quickly. Make sure that I'm hitting all of the notes here. Where the fuck did they go? Okay, yeah, we got that. Hey, we're actually doing quite well. All right, so I also want to follow up, I guess, on the short term now as well. I do understand that this video is getting a little bit longer, but yesterday we were looking at, hey, Bitcoin has tested the top side of the 9% range historical highs on the HPDR indicator, and that was, likely going to pull back. We did get a pretty decent pullback yesterday towards 20,400, but that's not really what I'm looking for, or not necessarily what typically you'd be looking for. Keep in mind that CME closed the week at 19,550, so there's going to be a nice gap somewhere right around here. A little bit higher, actually. Let me actually get this properly as well, which does kind of align with the 382 Fibonacci retracement at 19,350 to 19,400. So coming into next week, if Bitcoin does pop back down around there, or anything around there, not only would that be a higher low, but I would be looking for a bounce based upon that. I would also go as far to say that as long as Bitcoin's essentially above that pivot, let's move it a little bit lower just for the actual failure to like 19,200 on a closing basis. If Bitcoin starts to close below there, hey, this is a massive major bull trap. It'll be absolutely fucking devastating. And I don't know, at that point, yeah, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say 10,000 is my next target, but certainly 14,000 would be. And probably even 12 is on the cards as well. But for right now, yeah, this one probably does pull back. Higher lows, good, as long as above 19,350. We can also reference stochastic momentum on the lower term time frames to see if it kind of corroborates that story that pullback in the short term is a little more likely. Daily will turn down below 20,900 on a closing basis. 12-hour time frame is already turning down below 20,920. 6-hour time frame is also turning down below 21,240. 4-hour time frame is also down as long as Bitcoin's below 20,900. That number's came up quite a few times. And hourly also 20,950 in the short term. So again, short term, I do think that Bitcoin pulls back. Maybe goes for the full on gap full. I don't know, but maybe upper 19s would be reasonable there. Other than that, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this video. I forgot to show Bybit. Bybit has a promotion going on so that you can go get wrecked over there. It's great. They have the best liquidity, I believe, still. But yeah, there actually is a promotion going on in the comments section. I believe I have it there. And it is a good one, to be fair. 0% maker fees on derivative contract orders with that particular link. And yes, I do negotiate for that because that one's very important to me. I understand that people are traders here, as am I. And, lower fees equals better, right? Anyways, yeah, it's a good place for me to be leaving off. Want to be wishing you the best. As always, take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.